Welcome back. All right, so as promised, we are now between the second and third period of the Minnesota-Vancouver game, and I am ready to give you a News of the Day video, depending on what day it is where you are. Now, the time I'm recording this is probably going to be Sunday by the time people on the East Coast see this, so it's just news of whatever day it is, wherever you are watching this, right? And I'll probably have time for a News of the Day video tomorrow, as tomorrow's schedule is not quite as daunting as today's. So the Department of Player Safety was busy today, and the wheel they used spin landed on 3 games. Now, these suspensions stand out a little bit, only because there were suspensions and fines earlier this year that seemed really lenient, and incidents that didn't get anything at all, so I think that makes these stand out. First off, Jeff Skinner missed the game tonight against Pittsburgh, as it was the first game of a three-game suspension for the cross-check on Gensel. And so I know there's people who won't agree with that, but it's a 3-gamer for him. And Jamie Oleksiak also suspended 3 games for the hit to the head on Oleksiak. Washington has enough injuries, they don't need more. So in the case of Oleksiak and Skinner, both of them out for 3 games. Like I said, Skinner now has 2 more to serve. But I really think that these are going to stand out a little bit and cause people to say, well, wait a minute, because there's the whataboutism every time that there's a suspension or not a suspension. And the whataboutism, of course, always goes crazy with people online saying, oh, look at this and look at this and what about this and what about that? So at any rate, they can't get it right, right? That's basically the rule. No matter what Department of Player Safety does, it's wrong. So let me know why it's wrong in the comment section below, including Engvall, who his suspension is now over. He did not play the game tonight for Toronto. And so that's the 1-game suspension done for him. He'll be back in the lineup next game. They will also be without Nick Robertson for 6 to 8 weeks. That came out today as well. So with Robertson out of the lineup, it's too bad, because I really do like Robertson. I think that he is a solid young forward, and he just either doesn't get the chance, or in this case, he was about to get the chance, and then he gets hurt. So speedy recovery for Robertson, hoping it's 6 weeks rather than 8. Mitch Marner tonight, of course, extended his point streak to 22 games. Absolutely ridiculously long point streak for him. For anybody who's curious, the record is Gretzky with 51, so I don't think he gets there. But hey, you know, it is the longest streak currently in the National Hockey League. He's usually putting up 1 or 2 points for each game, so it's not like it's a ridiculous amount. But still, 22 straight games with a point is impressive. And so we'll see how far that streak goes. He will have a chance to, of course, extend that their next game out. Kevin Bieksa today, in answer to Chara's claim, and again, I talked about this in a news video, I believe it was yesterday we talked about this. Chara claiming that the Canucks were practicing carrying the cup around. And again, as I said in that video, if that had happened, reporters would have seen it, and it would have been everywhere. Bieksa is saying that Chara's claims are a sign of a lack of respect. It checks out. The Vancouver Canucks and Boston Bruins in 2011 did not have respect for each other. That was a big part of the problem with that Stanley Cup final. The teams absolutely loathed each other by the end of that first game, and it just got worse as the series went along. So in between the pumping the tires comments, remember those, and everything else, it's just, I'm going to be glad when we aren't talking about that at all, like when that's gone, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Stanley Cup final might have been the most controversial Stanley Cup final of my lifetime, in that there were injuries, you know, non-suspensions, and just all kinds of incidents on both sides. And so here we are still talking about it 11 years later, right? 11 and a half. So I agree with Bieksa. There was a lack of respect from Chara towards the Canucks of 2011. But in Chara's defense, neither team respected each other at all during that series. So it makes sense they don't respect each other now. So Chris Letang. Remember 12 days ago we were talking about Chris Letang, and he had a stroke, and how long is he going to be out? And, you know, this is a shame. It could shorten his career, and maybe you should hang him up. And there was a lot of that discussion. He came back tonight. He played well. He played a regular shift, and he felt good. In the post-game interview, he basically said he felt good. He was glad to be back out there. And, no lingering effects from the stroke. So no 2 strokes are the same. I even mentioned a comment the other day. My grandmother, as she got older, she started having them. And some of them would just pass. And she would just have them and they'd pass. She would have to go to the hospital on occasion, but yeah, when you have a condition where that's just part of said condition, and in his case, it's a hole in his heart that he had when he was born. You're living with that, right? So, at any rate, all the best to Chris Letang, and kudos to him for coming back and playing well tonight. Who knows? Maybe the Masterton Trophy is on the way. I can't see how he doesn't win the Masterton. You have a stroke and you're back 12 days later. I can't see how he doesn't win the Masterton for dedication to the sport of hockey. I can't think of anything that's more dedicated to the sport than coming back within 2 weeks. So there you go. So Hockey Canada, which has been in the news plenty, but we're going to talk about this here. They're going to vote for a new chairperson and a new board for Hockey Canada this coming week. So Hockey Canada trying to put everything behind them. There's still a lot of work to be done before it'll really and truly be behind them. But yeah, so their board will be in place next week. We'll see who they put up. The nominations are all done. It's now a matter of putting it to a vote and figuring out who's going to be in charge. And then the new person in charge has the task of trying to basically salvage Hockey Canada's reputation and make it so the sponsors stick around, and so that it is a company that starts to be a positive once again. So it's been a rough time. And the last item on the board for today is the announcement that the next Heritage Classic, and I was surprised they didn't announce one this year. Last year, the Buffalo-Toronto game, it felt like they announced that late as the Heritage Classic. Like they put out the schedule and then went, oh, Heritage Classic, we forgot. It felt like that. But at any rate, this one is announced a season ahead of time, and this is a slam dunk. So they're going to have it at Heritage, or at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, a game between the Oilers and the Flames. And it's the 20th anniversary of I believe that's the 20th anniversary of the outdoor game between them and the Montreal Canadiens, which started all of the outdoor games. And that game was cold. Like the iconic image of course, Jose Theodore wearing a toque over top of his mask. So not over his eyes, he could still see, but over top of his mask. And so, yeah, the Heritage Classic will be played between Calgary and Edmonton next season, and that should be a lot of fun. Now, what's less fun is that the Edmonton Oilers are working to trade Puljujarvi. Puljujarvi is aware that this is not going to happen overnight. This is a tough thing because Puljujarvi's had a rough start to the season. One thing that we've known with the Oilers whenever they're trying to trade Puljujarvi, they don't want to just give him up for nothing. I think if they were willing to do that, he would have been moved years ago. I think it's a matter of them wanting to get their value out of him. But is their value going to be the same as what valuation other teams put on him? So we'll see. But Puljujarvi's on the trade block. Also, I wanted to wear the orange Edmonton because now that they're going to the Heritage Classic, now they've gone back to their blue jerseys. Do you wear the orange one for the Heritage? Like, they haven't had a lot of looks, so I'll be interested to see what jersey they come up with for the Heritage. But at any rate, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. And hey, throw in a prediction of where you think Puljujarvi goes. Who do you think ends up picking him up? What do you think the Oilers get for him? Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.